thought he was going to lead off the bottom half of the fifth. But when he didn't, he wasn't happy. But after a Justin Ruggiano base hit and a couple of walks, Howie Kendrick brought the Dodgers to within a run. 1 out later, and the bases loaded. Chris Heisey, who spent most of the season infrequently with the Dodgers, mostly in Oklahoma City and briefly with Toronto, provided a second fifth-inning explosion. It was his first Dodger home run and his second career grand slam. And for the second straight game, the bullpen would shut out the Diamondbacks, and Kenley Jansen would save the day. With 10 games left in the season, the magic number's down to 3. The real question is no longer if, but when and where. It's a beautiful day for baseball. And live from Coors Field in Denver, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Colorado Rockies in the first of a 3-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner. Nomar Garciaparra, Oral Hershiser. The Dodgers season down to the final 10 games. They've got an 8-game lead on the Giants, thus the magic number is down to 3. And Don Mattingly now has the luxury of experimenting, bringing players back, getting them ready for the postseason.
He can experiment. It's a challenge to get guys healthy and get them ready for the postseason, but it's also a challenge to make sure that they're hot and ready for the postseason. One of the examples is Howie Kendrick. We know he's been a leader and somebody who solidified the middle of this infield all year long. Coming off an injury, has only been in there the last few games, has been 3 for 19, but yesterday came up big with 2 RBIs in the 5th inning. He needs to get hot as well as a couple of veterans. What about on the pitching side?
Well, on the pitching side, you know, it's a rarity when Clayton Kershaw needs more than a save or a setup man, but yesterday he needed 4 shutout innings from the bullpen. This bullpen is not going to go down in history as the best bullpen, but they might rally and turn out to be a great bullpen at the end of the year, and that's when they're going to get their standing ovations and applauses. Yesterday, only giving up 1 walk, 1 hit, all shutouts. The bullpen needs to rise to the occasion because September and possibly October is where they're going to need to shine.
Mike Bolsinger is going to be making his 20th start of the year in search of his 7th win. We'll be back with the lineups and the first pitch right after this from Denver. Started the year, a record of 6-4, a 3.26 ERA on the out-of-town scoreboard. Heading to the fourth in Cincinnati, the Mets have a 4-0 lead over the Reds. Tonight's closed captioning is brought to you by First 5 California, and here is the lineup that Don Mattingly has put together, brought to you by Honda. Chase Utley will be leading off at third base. Jimmy Rollins is at short. Adrian Gonzalez at first. Kendrick, Ethier, and Crawford through the heart of the lineup. Grandal catching, Peterson in center, Bolsinger pitching and batting ninth against David Hale.
Yeah, David Hale has 10 starts and 5 relief appearances so far this year. And one of his relief appearances, he got the win against the Dodgers, and that was that 16-inning game where Nolan Arenado hit the home run. But you also might remember he actually had a start against the Dodgers, too, part of a doubleheader where Alex Guerrero hit that grand slam to beat the Colorado Rockies here in Colorado. He features a fastball, more of a sinking action on that fastball, a slider, and the changeup. Really relies on the movement of his sinker, so get him up in the zone.
David Hale will turn 28 on Sundays out of Marietta, Georgia.
Yeah, this is a game where the Dodgers really want to lock in early, really put a number on the scoreboard, let San Francisco look at it, and also just starting to get the lineup out there of the more veteran players. So you're starting to see maybe some of the experimenting with the younger players start to dissipate, and now some of the veterans are going to start getting it cranked up for later in the year.
Well, the veteran Jimmy Rollins will be batting second tonight, playing in his third consecutive game, coming off that index finger issue. The ligament is fine, the knuckle is fine, and he is back in the saddle again. So it'll be Utley and Rollins and Gonzalez, a picture-perfect 81 degrees as the sun is setting in Mile High Country. Well, back in May when the Dodgers were here, 51 degrees, driving rain, a couple of rain delays, a snow out. And the second time the Dodgers were here, they had more than 2 hours of rain delays. And so on this weekend, we are getting a meteorological IOU. Chase Utley steps in, and he's going to be facing the shift on the right side of the infield. Utley in his 27th start with the Dodgers. First pitch swinging, bounces it to Inoa, the one-time Dodger farmhand. So we're underway quickly. Defensively for the Rockies tonight, you just met Inoa. Morneau at first. Adames is at short. And Nolan Arenado is at third. Jose Reyes has a bad Achilles. Dickerson, Blackman, and Gonzalez in the outfield. Tom Murphy is the rookie catcher. As Rollins steps in. Seager, you may notice, is not in the lineup again tonight. Before the game, Mattingly telling the crew that, well, he's got heavy legs at this point in the season. He's kind of tuckered out, so they're giving him another night to rest as Rollins takes a strike. It's 0-1. Gonzalez will follow. So the Dodgers are sitting pretty, 22 games over 500. Rollins lines one into left center field. That's going to be a base hit. That one's going to roll to the wall. Rollins has a double at least. Now he's thinking about 3. He is on his way, and he has got it. Jimmy Rollins with his third triple of the year.
Joe West doesn't give you timeout. He's like, look at that Joe West. They're messing around with each other.
They were mocking last night. Bumgarner and Joe West had a stare down in the San Francisco game, and Jimmy is mocking that incident.
Well, I'll tell you, Jimmy Rollins did a few good things here on this at-bat. One, driving the ball the other way in the left center gap, but two, also reading the ball in front of him and able to get to third for that triple, especially with 1 out, trying to get there to third base with less than 2 outs. And there's that mock you were talking about, that stare down between the two.
Adrian Gonzalez.
Bumgarner's and Joe West wasn't that close. That was from the pitcher's mound to behind home plate. That one was up close and personal, and both ending it with a smile.
It started with a smile, too, playing off last night. As Gonzalez fouls it back. 1 ball and 1 strike. So the Cowboy, Joe West, the crew chief.
He'll probably write a country western song about that stare down.
He's got a couple of CDs, and they all sound the same. Here's the 1-1 inside.
But we always, when they come out, we always get our free copy up in the booth, so we'll talk about it.
Yes, but we never listen to them. We get them, and we thank him. He can't even keep a straight face. It's 2-1 with Kendrick on deck. So the magic number down to 3 with 10 to go, an 8-game lead, and it's 3-1 to Gonzalez. David Hale, in 5 appearances against the Dodgers, 1-1, a 3.86 ERA. This is his second start against them. And Gonzalez bangs one on one hop, fielded by Morneau. He'll take it to the bag. Rollins will come in to score. Gonzalez gets his 88th RBI of the season. It was smacked, and the Dodgers lead 1-0.
Well, not an easy read for Jimmy Rollins over there at third base. I mean, because that ball was hit on a line drive. First, he had to just freeze to see if it was going to be short hop or not. But also, it was hit so hard where he had to say, okay, he might have a play at me at home if I take off too early. So once he saw the step from Morneau to go to first, that's when he took off.
Now Kendrick with 2 out. And he takes under the knees. 1 ball, no strikes. Howie at 290, 9 home runs, 52 runs batted in. Has done well against the Rockies this year. Kendrick in his first season in the National League. Ethier on deck. And it's outside. Well, we'll have plenty of time this weekend, fellas, to talk about the Dodgers and their game plan through this weekend and into the final now 9 games after tonight. Obviously, you want to win as much as you can, and especially with the Mets and the home field advantage as far as that is concerned. You also want to rest your veterans where you can and try to finalize what your 25-man roster is going to look like.
Exactly. There's going to be a lot of decisions made between now and when the playoffs start. Of course, first thing is to get qualified and get it over the hump.
Kendrick with a base hit to center.
We've been talking about back in the studio at El Segundo, Nomar and Ned Coletti specifically, about it isn't a magic number until it gets to 0.
I remember that.
That's
magic
the first
number
chore.
7. I'm like, well, it's not really magical until you know you're in there. And so far, Dodgers putting one on the board. That's a good start right now to get closer. And nice hit by Howie Kendrick back up the middle. We talked about at the Open about trying to get these guys hot and ready.
Yeah. Overall, the statistics for Howie have not been good since coming off the DL, but it looks like he's starting to round into shape the last few games.
Kendrick with the big hit yesterday in that 6-run 5th. As Ethier steps in and takes inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. Andre at 293, 13 home runs, and 45 runs batted in. Crawford on deck. Andre's been watching a fair amount with a lot of left-handed pitching going against the Dodgers recently, and Ruggiano's hit so well against the southpaws that here's Ethier finally getting a chance to play tonight.
Yeah, and my only concern is that it takes him out of his rhythm. I mean, he's really been arguably the MVP of this team as far as position players has been concerned. He was doing well hitting lefties throughout the season. Been able to face him.
That one's well hit to right on the line, but right at Gonzalez, and that'll end the inning. Gonzalez having to field the ball and fight the sun. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 left. Dodgers 1-0 after the first half of the first. as the manager of the Colorado Rockies. It's been a long year for the Rockies at 63 and 90, and here is the lineup he has put together, courtesy of Honda, with Charlie Blackmon leading off, third in the league with 41 stolen bases. Adam is at short, and Gonzalez having a solid season in right. Arenado having an outer-worldly year this year, 39 home runs at a National League leading 117 runs batted in. Dickerson, Morneau, and Murphy. is a second baseman. David Hale pitching and batting ninth against the 27-year-old right-hander Mike Bolsinger. And Bolsinger's first pitch of the ball game to Blackmon. It is a strike, and it's 0-1.
Bolsinger coming off a tough outing, his last outing against Pittsburgh, but that one he was not locked in, but he also was on 7 days rest. This is normal rest here tonight. Expects to be sharper.
Broken back, ground ball to first. Tough hop for Gonzalez. He stays with it, and there's Bolsinger, who can't hold on to it at first base.
Two bobbles. The second bobble was more costly. Mike Bolsinger has Blackmon out if he catches the ball and gets it in the heel of the glove, and it pops out. Adrian hits the heel of his glove. He feeds it over there to Mike and just kind of gets in between. One of those places where you're not sure, should I turn the glove over, stand tall, or should I bend my knees and try and get the glove up top? And just clanked it.
What's interesting is we see the sun, but there's also in right center. You have the sun, kind of the sun's bright there. You have some shadows, but see right there in right center. See, you kind of see that glare. He actually pointed to that when he was talking to Gonzalez about that glare. He might have lost that ball a little bit in that glare when Adrian threw it to him.
I think you're right.
It was an overhand throw with a little bit of velocity on it to boot. And so Blackmon with 41 stolen bases. He's third in the National League. That's a big lead. And Gonzalez goes to second base, out at second base.
Great play by Gonzalez. Recognized that was a hard hit bunt to him, and he charged it hard and knew at least getting the lead runner.
And getting Blackmon, a very fast runner. Not an easy play at all.
It's an attempt at a bunt for a base hit, but being that firm, trying to get it by the pitcher there, it turns into a possible sacrifice, and Adrian guns it down, and all it is an offer now.
One out, one on, and here's Carlos Gonzalez. Cargo with 37 home runs and 90 runs batted in, and nobody's hit more home runs since the break than him. Nolan Arenado's on deck. Hitting as usual has not been the issue for the Rockies. Into short left field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. See, that's the issue playing here in Colorado. You play too deep because it's mile-high country and the altitude and all of that. Balls drop in. You play too in, they go over your head.
The original phrase for those hits were Texas leaguers, because in Texas, as strong as the wind blows and as deep as the ball gets hit, your outfielders play very deep in Texas. So those Texas leaguers are now Colorado leaguers.
415 straight away. And essentially 350 down the lines. But it's the doubles and triples that'll kill you here much more than the home runs. And the local product making good. Nolan Arenado is about as good as any third baseman in the game these days. Leads the National League with 117 runs batted in. Two-time Gold Glove winner. This is his third year. Leads the major leagues in total chances, assists, and double plays. Second in the league in home runs and first in runs batted in.
He's 117 there. He has a 369 batting average with runners in scoring position. It's fourth highest in the National League.
And he's got first and second and one out. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Arenado.
Challenge today for Mike Bolsinger in this atmosphere. He's going to have to really get his breaking ball on the correct trajectory. Just not enough air here to start it out level and expect it to really bite, or even throw it slightly uphill when you let it pop out of your hand. Got to get it down.
Count holds at 1-2 with Dickerson on deck. Dickerson, a 300 hitter as well. The Rockies at 264, third highest team batting average. They're essentially in the top 4 of every major offensive category. They're near rock bottom in pitching. Here's the 1-2 outside and low. Nice play by Grandal.
Mike Bolsinger on that pitch, really making sure that he got it away and got it down. And that's just calibrating your gun, kind of what is it going to be like to pitch out here in this atmosphere. What are my pitches doing right now, and trying to really make sure with that pitch not to make a mistake.
In 3 starts since his return, Bolsinger 1-1 and an ERA of 6.25. This is not necessarily the best place to get well.
What's easier, Oral, to work way down and make the adjustments up, or if you're up, or being up first and then make your adjustments down?
I don't know which one's easier, but I know which one is less painful.
Oh, yeah. That I can see that.
Starting up and saying I need to get it down usually is more painful than starting down and slowly bringing the ball up. So I'm going to start down. Even if I have to work ankle to shin high for a while, I'm going to slowly bring it up.
Buy low, sell high. Here's the 1-2 to third. Utley, a relative newcomer at third base, gets the easy play. Now there's 2 out. So you've got Utley at third base and Rollins at short. Howie Kendrick at second base, Adrian Gonzalez at first. Crawford, Peterson, and Ethier in the outfield. And Yasmani Grandal, who's thrown out 24% of would-be base stealers, is behind the plate. So 2 out, 2 on, and the Dodgers with a 1-0 lead. A Rollins first inning triple knocked in by Kendrick. And here's Corey Dickerson, who is one who has really enjoyed playing at home. The Rockies, as usual, huge numbers playing at Coors Field. At Coors Field, the Rockies are hitting as a team .299. On the road, .227.
Those kind of numbers can, as an opposing pitcher coming in, Mike Bolsinger and Yasmani Grandal wanted to have a little chat, but those kind of numbers, knowing the offense you're coming into, can give you a little bit of a fear factor. But Mike Bolsinger, so far tonight, 5 for 5 on first pitch strikes, attacking the strike zone, getting ahead.
Rick Honeycutt, Don Mattingly, and after tonight, 9 games left in the regular season. Giants and A's later on. Up the middle, into right center field for a base hit. Adames comes in to score. And it is a 1-1 ball game. Dickerson with his 24th run batted in.
It wasn't hit real well, but it was hit in the right place. And I know Mike Bolsinger, his critique of himself will be the poor location on an 0-1 pitch with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Wanting to go away out there, just left it a little bit up. You just see the ball just hang there. And you know you're probably going to give up runs in this ballpark, but you can't give up. It's a mental battle as well as a physical battle.
Now Morneau. Just 145 at-bats this year. Takes inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Tom Murphy is on deck. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. Bolsinger was talking about his recent problems, and he said it's nothing mechanical. It just doesn't feel right.
He's had some odd workloads, of course, with the multiple days rest and not understanding where he's going to really fit in. But now it really solidified the 5th spot. Going to get a normal turn here until the end of the year. And And, of course, he's a little bit pitching for his supper to see if he could get onto that playoff roster. All these players want to be on that playoff roster. You live and breathe wanting to pitch in the playoffs or play in the playoffs since you're a little boy.
First and third, 2 out. Runner goes without a throw.
Now you've got 36 guys who want to make that roster. And so in some ways they feel like maybe it's a given now they're going to get to the playoffs, but it's not a given that they're going to get to play in the playoffs.
So more no walks, and the Rockies have the bases loaded. Tom Murphy stepping in. 6 out of 20, check swing. Rollins has an easy play, and that will end the inning. But not before the Rockies tie the score with a couple of hits and leave 3. As we go to the second, it'll be Crawford, Grandal, and Peterson coming up. SNLA Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming telecast brought to you by T-Mobile. So each team with a run in the first. As we head to the second, it's going to be Carl Crawford, Yasmani Grandal, and Jock Peterson. Well, expect a lot of runs here because that's just the way it plays. For 1 year, Jim Leyland managed the Colorado Rockies, and he couldn't take it anymore. He quit. So this is not, I don't know how to manage here. What with pitching, how many hits are too many hits, how many runs are too many runs. Crawford fouls it off to the left, and it's 0-1. They've never really mastered any kind of formula here for success.
Open since 1995, and the total home runs in this ballpark, they've tried to adjust them with the humidor. It really didn't make a major effect. Putting the baseballs in a humidor, making sure they had the right amount of moisture. The number one thing that's made an effect here at this ballpark over the years as far as the home run numbers has really been the PED testing. That's when it changed. The most home runs they've ever had in this ballpark in 1 year was in 1999, 303. And then it jumped. It went down a little bit when the humidor came into existence in 2002. It went down to 232, 230, 221. They started going down, but in 2005, when the PED testing came in, that's when the jump went down, and it's more like 168, 185, 174. Look at that. That's not a home run, but that's a base knock.
Look at that.
No.
And Carl Crawford with a base running blunder. And heads up defense by Nolan Arenado.
Earl, I talked about Nolan Arenado, and I told you, I go, he's one of the best third basemen defensively I've ever seen.
Yep.
Because he's one of those guys that'll make an impact and find some way. Look, he's always thinking he's going that way, and he pops up thinking about going over there and trying to get Carl Crawford rounding the base. Carl was still peeking. He was looking. Even with him looking, Nolan Arenado finds a way to still get him out over there at first base.
Crawford thinking if somehow it gets past Arenado, he's got a double. Well, it's 1 out, nobody on.
And a base runner being aggressive and sniffing a double, and you got a third baseman backdooring him at first base. It's just unheard of. It's fantastic play.
Nolan Arenado, and it's one thing, you know, you can talk about infielders, you think about up the middle, you talk about center fielders, catcher, second baseman, and shortstop. But a third baseman that seems to have an impact on a daily basis, every day, he was going to remind you he's over there because he's going to do something.
And that reminds me of the play that you guys up the middle play as shortstop and second baseman when it's first and second ground ball and you know you're not going to get the double play and relay the ball to first, so you go backdoor on the runner at third.
You turn
and
around.
He's now turned that play into backdooring the runner at first.
I mean, it was a heads-up play because he was playing the shift. He went so far to get that ball and slide, and Carl Crawford just knew it. Like, you know, he got me. He picked me off.
There's not much on a baseball diamond that Nolan Arenado can't do. And he thinks the game so specially. 3-2 to Yasmani Grandal. So he's won Gold Gloves in each of the first 2 years of his big league career. No reason to believe he's not going to win another this year. Leads the league with 117 runs batted in, 14 more than the next guy, Goldschmidt. That's Adames, the shortstop, fielding it on the second base side. So David Hale getting some help from his great third baseman. Now Jock Peterson stepping in, hitting .214. 25 home runs and 52 runs batted in. He has enjoyed coming here. And he takes high, 1 ball, no strikes. Peterson has been the case all year, among the league leaders in walks and strikeouts. 2 balls, no strikes to Jock Peterson, who would love to get on just to get Bolsinger up here in the second inning so they can start the third, the Dodgers can, with a clean inning because Bolsinger is not much of a hitter. Two balls and 1 strike.
Hitters count, but pulled the string through the changeup. Get some applause from your catcher behind the plate for that pitch. Mr. Hale does.
2-2. So Peterson at just .214 now. And he's worked the count full. Bolsinger, who's on deck, has only 1 hit all year, so get Peterson up here, he could start the third inning clean. And they'll be able to do that. First walk given up by Hale.
Jock's ability to really decipher the walk sometimes and draw them is key to that 8-hole, knowing when to expand his strike zone to try and drive somebody in if there were runners on and a pitcher on deck, and knowing when to not expand in a 3-2 count and turn the lineup over.
1 for 36 translates into 0-28. And he's been struck out 22 of his 36 at-bats. No balls and 1 strike. We're tied at 1 in the top of the second. Top of the 6th in Cincinnati, the Mets 4-0. And it's 0-2 to Bolsinger.
Are you smirking at his swing a little bit there, Oro?
I was. If there was a booth cam, you would have saw a smirk.
Well, that's that. 23rd time Bolsinger has been struck out in 37 at-bats this year, and he had an .028 batting average coming into this inning. that just went down. Fourth since his return from the minor leagues, and what, Alana, can Don Mattingly realistically expect out of this right-hander
Well, Charlie,
tonight?
that's exactly what I asked Donnie earlier today, and of course Mike Bolsinger admitted that he just did not have command of his off-speed stuff. Really felt that the fastball command was there in his last outing, but really couldn't do anything with the breaking ball, and specifically his curveball. Don Mattingly said he just wants us to keep him, he just wants him to keep us in the game. He said, you know, he's been the victim of having to be scratched from the priority list, not necessarily knowing when he's going to start, sometimes on turn, sometimes several more days in between starts. He said now that he has that fifth spot in the rotation, knows when he's going to start, he's hoping the consistency will help him out on the hill, guys.
So Mattingly's club tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the second. Rafael Ynoa, one-time Dodger, leads it off, a switch hitter. Takes a strike, 0-1. Of course, Bolsinger was set aside when the Dodgers acquired Matt Latos. The Latos experiment did not work out with the Dodgers. In fact, he was officially released today. Ynoa to right, and Ethier is right there.
Nora, the way Bolsinger was talking about, Alana mentioned about how he just didn't have his stuff in his last outing, or he couldn't really feel his curveball, which is his bread and butter. Does that scare you as a pitcher, especially maybe going into the week before your next start, going, wait a minute, my bread and butter wasn't there and I couldn't feel it?
In some ways, I'm glad that he kind of admits it in his interviews, because it shows that he has a realistic attitude about his stuff and what he needs to work on. And he's not really hiding from the fact that I didn't have it. But he's not saying I'm giving up. He's going to continue to press on, and I'm sure they worked really hard on it in between starts.
David Hale is the hitter, and he fouls it back, and it's 1-1. Hale is 2 for 19. That's a 105 batting average.
One of the ways to remove the pressure of the media asking you questions about a slump or not feeling good is just to come clean and say, you know what, I'm terrible right now. This is why, and I need to get better.
Quickly 2 out and nobody on.
You start making excuses, you start getting a lot of follow-up questions.
Right.
Well, in the case of Bolsinger, the only chance he really has into the postseason might be as a long man. And even that, you would think, the odds are long.
Yeah, it could be long, and it could be part of the strategy, though, because the the third and fourth starters are left-handed with Wood and Anderson. So if either one might have a short outing, you might want to go with somebody like a Mike Bolsinger that curveball might be hard to adjust to one time around the order.
Charlie Blackmon got aboard on an error.
And then even if and then you think about the opposing team, we've seen the Dodgers do it an awful lot, but if you heavily put, like, say, a left-handed lineup against righty, or you try to play that matchup, well, if the starter has a short out and you bring somebody else in, it almost messes up that line.
Yeah, you can flip the lineup.
Right.
Yep.
Start with a righty and quickly flip to the left-hander. Blackmon takes a strike.
But the thing that flips a lineup is a good breaking ball, not necessarily a hard fastball flips a lineup, because a hard fastball from either side, the hitters aren't quite as anxious about facing that, or their splits aren't as different. But a good curveball or a really hard slider, that is the way you flip a lineup.
So it's 2-2. We're tied at 1 with 2 out in the bottom of the second, as the Rockies continue their final homestand of the year, and the Dodgers begin their final road trip. High and away.
And if the lineup doesn't flip and the opposing manager decides not to empty his bench or to go to that side of it, then Mike Bolsinger has the advantage of having the better matchup at that time.
Right. So that's where those discussions are going to go on, whether who's going to be that long guy coming in or on the roster.
Right.
A 2-out walk to Blackman. Second given up by Bolsinger tonight. Adamus bounced out in his first at bat. Jose Reyes, his Achilles barking at him, and so the rookie Adamus, switch hitter, is playing tonight. Just his 21st game, and a fastball up and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Blackman at first base is 3rd in the league in stolen bases. Billy Hamilton, who's done for the year, 57. D. Gordon has 53, and then Blackman.
Mike needs to make an adjustment on the mound, that's for sure. It seemed like from the walk to these first 2 pitches, he has lost a little bit of rhythm or release point. Need to reach into the toolbox and find the right tool here to fix it.
2-1.
Smart pitch to miss high with 2 fastballs, and for Yasmani to put down the breaking ball. The breaking ball, you want to get your fingers to the front of the ball and get it down a downward plane, and when you're missing, throwing the back of the baseball and high with the fastball, that's a good fix.
Gonzalez, an easy play, and that's going to do it. No runs, no hits, a walk, and a man left. When we come back for the 3rd, it'll be the top of the order for the Dodgers. Utley, Rollins, and Gonzalez coming up. Key. With an EPA. Dodger Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by the 2015 Jeep Cherokee with an EPA estimated 31 highway MPG. It's the perfect choice. Visit Jeep.com today. We're a mile high, and we're at Coors Field in Denver as we begin the 3rd inning. And yeah, it's a little different here, especially for athletes. What with the altitude, the necessity of being hydrated. It's a tough place to play. Utley takes a strike, 0-1. And this is a place also that Kenley Jansen, who had the irregular heartbeat, has had difficulty adjusting to as well. It's part of the deal in playing in Denver. Utley, who bounced to second base in his first at bat. Ball and a strike. So Utley, Rollins, and Gonzalez, 3 veterans batting for the Dodgers here in the third. What is the difference, Nomar, playing here as opposed to anywhere else, and what preparations must you make in getting ready to play?
Definitely hydrating is really key, as you mentioned, and it's not just as you're coming here. It's almost like a few days before you're getting here to make sure as you prepare and you're thinking about Colorado and you start hydrating the body a little bit more, and you're constantly drinking water even when you feel like you're not thirsty. You still have a bottle. You tell yourself, walk around with a bottle of water, have one in your hotel room right next to your locker, always have one just around. And there are times too there are times you feel sluggish, just because it's just different. Even when you're sleeping, you feel like it's one of those places where when you're laying down, you're like, it's tough to just get out of bed. I just kind of want to stay in bed a little bit longer, and that seems like you just want to stay in bed all day, as your body's kind of adapt, especially the first day when you're here, as your body's adapting to that altitude. And the other thing is, and you mentioned, you also know that there's potential of the long games, just because of the field and because of that fact, because of the pitches don't break as much. And I remember even our manager, Grady Little, used to tell me, he goes, listen, I know for veteran guys, you get that big lead where sometimes he likes to take veterans and have them rest. It's a good time to kind of get them some rest, but he didn't feel comfortable doing that here. So as you talked about how it's different to manage, so there's a lot, this area and the altitude and everything about this place definitely changes a lot of things in preparation and the game.
Utley with the leadoff walk. Rollins stepping in. Jimmy tripled and scored a run in his first at bat. Gonzalez on deck. And Rollins takes a strike. In the first, Jimmy split the seam. Into left center, and again, we were talking about it before. It's not the home runs that kill you here so much. It's the doubles and the triples that'll get you. The stare down between Jimmy Rollins and Joe West. In the hole, what a play by Adames. The throw to second base, not going to be in time. Christian Adames taking over at short tonight for Reyes. Keeps the ball in the infield and keeps Utley at second.
Good job by Chase Utley as well, hustling down there for that hit. I mean, it was a great effort over there by the shortstop, but Utley recognizing that too, and sliding when he slid in there too, making sure he got that front foot, because you see at times where you can slide and you kind of keep it up and you slide over the bag, and it's the back leg or the leg that's tucked under that ends up hitting the bag first. Was Chase also knew that I had to get that foot in there first and right away, because it was going to be a close play at second.
So the Dodgers have a rally going here, but the Dodgers have had all sorts of difficulty since the end of June. 3 months. The Dodgers are hitting collectively .223 with runners in scoring position. From April the 6th through June the 26th, the Dodgers are hitting .282 in the clutch. But since June the 27th, .223. And so while they lead the league in on-base percentage, foul back and out of play, they're having all sorts of difficulty cashing in the runs.
It really has been a tale of 2 seasons there with the RISP.
Kendrick on deck, and the Dodgers have a bit of a rally here in the third. And Gonzalez, last 95 games, he's hitting just .244. First 53 games of the season, he was at .337. In the second half, it's It's been a slog for him. But when you consider he's a .291 hitter. Having said all that, he still has 28 home runs and 87 runs batted in. Two and two. Kendrick, who singled in his first at bat and drove in the Dodgers' first run, is next. Utley and Rollins lead from second and first. Temperature was 81 degrees at game time, but as the sun is setting, it's beginning to cool off. And there's the first hint of fall in the air that the Dodgers have experienced in a while. On 2-2, Utley nearly picked off. Adam is trying to come in on the blind side.
Well, they got him leaning. If that was just a straight pickoff, I think they would have had him. But it was a slight hesitation by the pitcher, C, and then the shortstop. If the shortstop was already anticipating it, and both the pitcher and shortstop were, they would have had a chance of getting Utley there.
Hale with that little hop before he uncorked the throw. 2-2. Outfield straightaway for Gonzalez. It's another thing about Coors Field. These games are long in terms of time. Forget about runs and hits, of which there are plenty.
Well, you see right here that, you know, the last two foul balls by Adrian Gonzalez, it's really hard as a pitcher to find a ball to get completely off the barrel and strike somebody out. Especially when you have solid big league ability, but not exceptional big league ability like a Zach Greinke or a Clayton Kershaw. You're just a normal soldier out there. And it's a tough enough league at sea level. It's another league for the pitchers up here a mile high.
Good speed on the bases for the Dodgers. Still nobody out here in the third. Hale beats Gonzalez. Second strikeout of the night.
Didn't fool him with his movement as much as the speed. Went to a changeup at 80 miles an hour and ends up on the inner half, wanting it down and away. But Adrian just so out and far in front of it, has very little swing left to hit the ball. As you see where that ball was when the bat passed it.
Now Kendrick with the big hit yesterday in that 6-run fifth. Drove in the game's only run to this point tonight. So Howie at 292. Ethier on deck. They give Kendrick a lot of room in left center.
Omar, you've talked about this before, but when a guy comes off the DL that's been on there for a while, how long it takes to really get back up to game speed?
You know, it varies from every player. And even not only from every player, it could be the same player, but it just varies from each season. I mean, it's really strange. It's hard to say, well, I usually need this amount of time or this set time. It can vary where all of a sudden you come back for whatever reason, you're locked in, like, oh, my swing feels good, my timing's pretty good. And then there are times where the timing's not good, it's off, and it takes you a while. But I think...
I remember the feeling as a pitcher. It's like, have I ever pitched before?
Right.
Have you ever gotten in the cage, like, after a while, and you go, have I ever hit
hit
well before? It's like you feel like you're in a completely different body.
Yeah, that doubt starts creeping into your mind, like, what am I doing over here? But I think guys who have a tendency to make a lot of contact don't strike out a lot. When they have time off, have a tendency to pick it up quicker because just naturally making contact.
In general, they're going to have less moving parts too in their swing.
That
right?
usually is the case as well. So
sounds like a yogiism, but the longer you're away, the longer it takes you to get back into the groove once you've returned.
Right.
because you're so out of whack. Your timing has been lost. And now to get back, and all the other kids have been playing all the time that you've been gone. The 1-2. Well, this should end the inning. And it does. So Kendrick bounces into the 4-6-3. The Dodgers get first and second, nobody out, and can do nothing with it. We'll go to the bottom of the third. Dodgers and the Rockies tied at 1. Brought to you by Denny's. It's October the 2nd. Take your place on the field for a fireworks show featuring a salute to Hispanic Heritage Month. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. So we'll go to the bottom of the third. Bolsinger and the Dodgers tied with David Hale and the Rockies at 1. Carlos Gonzalez, Nolan Arenado, and Corey Dickerson will bat for the Rockies in the third. Cargo's had a great second half of the season. One of the big reasons he's been healthy. 24 home runs since the break. 24 of his 37. For a while there, it seemed like Gonzalez and Arenado, who's on deck, were hitting home runs every day together. It's still strange to come here and not see Troy Tulowitzki.
Sure is.
And it looks like Tulowitzki is not too far from returning to the Blue Jays. Here's the 2-0. 2 balls and a strike.
He's made an outstanding impact up there in Toronto.
They hope to have him back in about a week. Get him ready for the postseason. Blue Jays have a 4-2 lead at home against Tampa in the bottom half of the 6th. The Yankees and the White Sox are tied at 2 in the 6th. Whack foul. Tulowitzki, in fact, was hitting off the tee today, so there's been some big-time energy north of the border. That was one of those instant impact trades. Gonzalez on 3-2. So Bolsinger, next pitch will be his 40th. He has walked 2, hasn't struck out anybody. And Cargo, with his 90 RBIs, ranks 9th in the league in that category. And he takes a walk. 3rd one given up by Bolsinger as we begin the 3rd inning.
Pitch careful here. You try and pitch well, but sometimes those free passes can bite you because of this atmosphere. You end up giving up home runs that are not just solo shots. Like looking for a ground ball now.
especially with a guy like this stepping into the plate. Dickerson on deck, Morneau to follow. Up and in.
Mike Bolsinger has quietly pitched very well this year. Hasn't gotten a lot of advertisement for it, and especially against the National League West. For pitchers with have at least 50 innings pitched in their division against the National League West, he has the 5th best batting average against. 223. Liriano 211, Zach Greinke 213, Tyson Ross 216, Madison Bumgarner 223, tied with Mike Bolsinger.
He's in good company. But his last 3 starts have been adventuresome, and so far tonight, like the last 3. As he falls behind 3 balls and no strikes.
That's that breaking ball that back at sea level in Dodger Stadium, that's going to come down and possibly be a strike. And as we take a look at the batting averages against for the National League West, Bolsinger on that last breaking ball normally gets back in the count with a 2-0 breaking ball strike, but started it up where he normally does, but it doesn't come down here. It doesn't get back in the strike zone. It just hangs up there around the shoulders.
Arenado 9 home runs, 22 RBIs this month. Takes a strike and is 3-1. In September, Nolan Arenado is hitting .337. His 39 home runs on the year, tied for 5th in the majors, and 11th most in Rockies history, where they have been known to hit some home runs here over the years. Well, it would appear as if even with the cataclysmic failure of Washington down the stretch, that Bryce Harper is going to be your MVP, at least statistically.
And he's working on a race for the Triple Crown. The only one he's behind in is the RBI. He's about 5th, I think, or so. But the batting average and the home runs, #1.
He's not going to catch Arenado. On 3-2, the runner goes, whack to third, backhanded stop by Utley. Some play by Chase Utley, who has played but a handful of games in his career at third base. Arenado is out. Gonzalez goes to second.
That was a great play by Utley. A hard hit ball to be able to stay with it.
And we talked about the difference from going from second base to third base. Well, the difference here is now that you know that you have time here to gather yourself, get your feet right to make a good throw to first base. That's another thing that you have to adjust to. The angle from third to first as compared to second base, but also balls such as that. And that the runner wasn't going, that was a double play ball, or he would have gone to second. But he went, and also to say, okay, keep moving my feet to get a good throw.
So with 1 out, line toward the left field corner, Crawford is not going to get it. 1 hop off the wall. In to score easily is Gonzalez, and the Rockies take a 2-1 lead on the double by Corey Dickerson.
Corey Dickerson coming into this game, he already has won a single, an RBI single in the first inning. Here's an RBI double, but he was batting .400 with runners in scoring position coming into this game. He's obviously increased that average with his last 2 at-bats. But he's one of those guys that can just make contact, and he's already a couple years, balls in the dirt. He's been able to hit balls that have hit the dirt first and he's made contact and gotten base hits out of them. Bad ball hitter, great eye-hand coordination.
2 for 2, and he's driven in both Rocky runs. Justin Morneau walked in his first at-bat. Takes a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. So congratulations to the Kansas City Royals. They win the American League Central Division. Won that last night. To first base and threw Gonzalez into right. Dickerson will score easily. A rugged night for Gonzalez at first base. (3-1) Colorado.
This ball was well struck, but Adrian Gonzalez will tell you that he should have had it. Looks like it makes a little funny hop on him. He had the glove lined up to catch it, and all of a sudden had to dart the glove back.
Stays down. See that?
Yeah, just skipped back, and it looked like it went a little bit.
The second
towards
hop,
the line.
The second hop, the ball, when it hit the dirt, it just stayed down.
If anybody would know about the hops you get down there first, would be Morneau, who plays the same position.
Second error of the night for the Dodgers. And a call strike, 0-1 to Tom Murphy.
There have been a couple of balls hit to Adrian today where he just hasn't seemed like he's really comfortable, fielding the ball. Where, I don't know, reading it off the bat he hasn't been able to, but also maybe not too confident in the dirt or the bounces it takes. And that happens for all infielders. There are times and there's certain fields or there's certain days at certain fields where you're like, gosh, I'm either not reading it right, or they seem to me making some funny hops on the dirt or the grass that gets you thrown out of your rhythm. And that one, as we saw, that last hop stayed down on him and got by him.
So it's an error all the way, no RBI. Ball in the dirt, and going to second base is Morneau.
When Morneau, a guy with his speed, makes it on that kind of ball that just barely gets away from Grandal, that's when you get classified a good base runner, because you don't have the speed to make it there, but it takes a secondary lead and a good jump, reading where the ball is in the dirt and how far it gets away. So that's how you could become a slow runner, but still be a good base runner.
A sluggish beginning to this game for the Dodgers, trailing 3-1. They've committed 2 errors. And 1 and 2 to Murphy. First strikeout of the game for Bolsinger. It's the second out of the third. Here's Rafael Ynoa. Flied to right in his first at bat. So Bolsinger already at his 55th pitch. But first there'll be a conversation between his catcher Yasmani Grandal and Bolsinger.
Second time they've had to chat with a man on second to really get on the same page of what signs or what sequence of signs they're going to use. Are we going second sign? Are we going first sign after the indicator? What are we going with? And if I shake and don't like that sign, what are we going with after that?
The X factor is Morneau at second base. There's a strike to Ynoa. It's 0-1. Ynoa, 56 games at AAA this year. Albuquerque, where he hit .286. Takes a strike, and it's 0-2. David Hale on deck. .26 hits, 5 doubles, and the rest are singles for Ynoa, who fouls it back. The Dodgers 41-25 this year against the National League West, best record within the division, and 11-5 against the Rockies. And for Bolsinger, this third inning has been torturous. The next pitch will be his 25th. Into left center field. That's going to crease the seam. Morneau will score easily. Ynoa is on his way to third base, and he is going to get there standing up. It is the 4th run of the third, and the Rockies lead 4-1.
breaking ball pitcher that's trying to make it break in thin air, and you see that ball back up and not break very sharp, out over the plate, easy to extend your arms and drive the ball into that gap. And as Charlie has mentioned, the spacious grounds here in Coors Field, the doubles and triples will really kill you on top of the ball flying when it's in the air.
So Rollins has a triple tonight. Enoa's got a triple. Dickerson has doubled here in the third inning. And David Hale is the batter. And he takes a ball inside and low. 1 ball and no strikes. Hale bounced to first base in his first at bat. To Gonzalez. He'll take this one by himself. So the Rockies plate 3 here in the third. A walk, a double, an error, and a triple. It's 4-1 Colorado as we head to the fourth. There are going to be plenty of food, music, autographs, on-stage interviews, games, and fun for the entire family. All starting at 2 o'clock and brought to you by Coca-Cola, Time Warner Cable, and State Farm. For tickets, go to Dodgers.com/Viva. David Hale has a 3-run lead to work with as we begin the fourth inning. Andre Ethier, Carl Crawford, and Yasmani Grandal to bat. David Hale coming into the game, it's his 11th start, an ERA .632 and a record of 4-5. And his last 7 starts, an ERA of about 7.5. But he's got a 3-run lead to work with. And frankly, it looks like the Dodgers are kind of sleepwalking so far.
The runs off Mike Bolsinger have not all been earned. And a few errors have hurt them, one by Mike, one by Adrian.
Ethier takes a strike, 0-1.
Tough enough place to pitch here and against this lineup right now. Then when you give him extra outs, there's a long way to go in this ballpark, in this game.
Hale came out of the Atlanta organization, was traded over here a couple of years ago. In 5 appearances and 1 start against the Dodgers, a .386 ERA. But he's also given up 3 home runs. Each side with 4 base hits. Walt Weiss's club at 63 and 90. Look at the diving stop by Enoa, robbing Ethier of a base hit. The shift plus an outstanding effort by Rafael Enoa.
Andre Ethier hits this ball hard, and it looks like it was going to get through, but then Inoa comes out of nowhere, makes a diving stop, as that was worthy of a Morongo slow-mo cam. And then just for good measure, you're like, as a hitter, you're going, thanks a lot. You throw me out from one, you make the good stop, and then you throw me out from your knees. Really? Just get up, please. Just make me feel a little. Nah, you still feel awful no matter what.
Carl Crawford as Ethier robbed of a hit. Crawford, with the shift on in his first at-bat, rolled one up the third base line. And he got a little bit greedy. He took a big turn at first, and Nolan Arenado, staying with the play all the way, got up and threw across the diamond. And sheepishly, Crawford would be thrown out at first, taking the big turn. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So Arenado, seeds on the house.
Makes plays like that, and he eats sunflower seeds all at one time.
Compartmentalizing. 2-2. The pride of El Toro High School, rapidly becoming one of the game's elite players. 2-2. Crawford fouls it back. Dodger bullpen going to work right away. Ian Thomas. Thomas pitched an inning on Wednesday night back at Dodger Stadium with the Dodgers' 4-1 win over the Diamondbacks. Now the count is full to Crawford with Yasmani Grandal on deck.
Dodgers needed 5 arms on top of Clayton Kershaw's arm yesterday to pick up the victory. Not something you normally see in a Kershaw outing. Usually he needs maybe just Kenley Jansen.
Morneau with the underhand flip. Yesterday, the Dodgers used DeCasio, Howell, Garcia, Hatcher, and Jansen after Clayton came out after 5 innings and quite a photo op.
He was really happy that he had to hand the ball over.
Well, it was the bat he was arguing on. It was about pinch hitting. And he had gotten a hit.
He's like, look, I can swing it.
Mattingly was talking about it before the game today. He and Clayton had a little conversation in the weight room. And all is good.
It's always a good place to have it when there's things you can pick up that are heavy and throw around. So.
To further emphasize your point. 2 balls and no strikes to Yasmani Grandal. Why, you dumbbell. Grandal takes a strike. It's 2-1. Grandal bounced to second base in his first at-bat.
Before we went off on that tangent, the point I was trying to make was that coming into this ballpark and using 5 relievers yesterday, you would think you'd be having a rested bullpen, but not tonight. A workload is there.
Morneau to Hale in a 1-2-3 inning for Hale. Dodgers go quietly, and after 3.5, they trail the Rockies 4-1. Jock Peterson and Scott Schebler helped Tommy Lasorda celebrate his 88th birthday. Plus, Vin Scully breaks a Guinness World Record. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers next Thursday, 7 o'clock, right here on Sportsnet LA. So Mike Bolsinger down 4-1. He has already thrown 60 pitches through 3. He has struck out 1, walked 3. Given up 4 runs and 4 hits. Just one of the runs earned. A couple of errors for the Dodgers, who to this point in the season have made the fewest of any club in the National League. So here's Charlie Blackmon. Here we are in the 4th. It's already his 3rd plate appearance. Got a board on an error and walked. We were talking earlier, Nomar, about how unique it is and how difficult it is to play in Colorado when you're playing here under any circumstances. But the first game in of a series is tough on the team.
It really is. And because we were talking about, I was talking about how your body needs to adjust to the altitude, how you have a tendency to feel sluggish that first day here.
Well hit to right field, and Charlie Blackmon has just hit his 17th home run of the year into the second deck. There is no doubt about it. And the Rockies lead Bolsinger and the Dodgers 5-1. Nothing sluggish about that swing.
Well, 5 runs now for the Rockies, and that one was definitely earned. This is a ball that's up. It's a mistake. It's really kind of right down the middle, trying to get a little bit more inside. Blackmon gets to extend and get the barrel on it. And it was no doubt after it left the bat.
8th home run Bolsinger has given up. Christian Adames hits it right on the button, but right at Bolsinger. Well, the Dodgers aren't going to get any help from the Mets tonight. In Cincinnati, the Mets are pulverizing the Reds 9-0. Of course, the Dodgers would love to get home field advantage. Trotting out Messrs. Kershaw and Greinke in the first 2 at Sunset at Dodger Stadium. Carlos Gonzalez drills one down the right field line. At this point, doesn't look like Bolsinger's fooling anybody.
Yeah, and you made the comment about Sunset in the playoffs, Charlie. There's a huge difference between home field advantage of a game starting on the West Coast during Sunset and a game starting on the East Coast.
So you're looking at 5:30 somewhere in that area.
Usually the first 3 innings or so, the hitters can't see the ball very well from the mound, and you're pretty much starting the game in the 4th inning. As far as the offense is concerned, and any run that is scored in the first 3 innings by either offense is a bonus, because it just feels like it is such a strain to see the ball.
And then if you have to face DeGrom and Harvey throwing that hard and you can't see the ball, just add another challenge, right?
And then you face Zach Greinke and Clayton Kershaw.
Right, exactly.
And the security guy is right in the way. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The Mets coming into play tonight 86-67. The Dodgers 87-65. Blackmon with the home run, his 17th. 5-1 Rockies. Into center field, Peterson is going back. He is at the wall, and it is gone. Carlos Gonzalez with his 38th home run of the season, and they're lighting into Bolsinger now.
We talk about this field. That was an example. I mean, it's the center field and how the ball carries pretty well. When you see Carlos Gonzalez goes down and get this ball, it's not like he just crazy squared that up. See how he had to reach down and get that ball, and it still went out to center field. So, you know,
This is not the prettiest home run swing you're going to see.
No, it's not. I mean,
it looks like he just flipped it to left field or something as far as the swing is concerned.
Put it this way, that's not a swing that he's going to go back and say, you know what, I need to try to imitate that over and over and over again. That's one that you're like, all right, I got it.
Stan Conte is out there as much as Don Mattingly, and wondering what that is all about.
Bolsinger's reaction right there after he threw the pitch looked like he did have some kind of a small sharp pain or something. The flinch I saw was right after release, not when the home runs hit, but right after right there he's kind of looking like he's kind of shaking his shoulder a little bit. Don't follow the ball here. Follow Mike Bolsinger. Watch him right there. That's an odd way to carry his arm after the pitch.
Solo home runs for Blackmon and Gonzalez here in the fourth. The Rockies lead at 6-1. Arenado stepping in. Nolan is 0 for 2. And he takes low and outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Corey Dickerson on deck. There's a strike. 1-1. So Bolsinger, this is his 4th consecutive start in which he has struggled. Arenado takes a strike, and it's 1-2. In his 3 previous starts, Bolsinger 1-1 and a 6.23 ERA. And to this point tonight, in 3 1/3, he has given up 6 runs and 6 base hits, including 2 home runs. But he gets Arenado for the second out of the 4th. Charlie Blackmon looks like the star of the Duck Dynasty.
Beards seem to be in the big leagues right now. We've got an awful lot of them.
Dickerson is 2 for 2. A single, a double, and 2 RBIs. And that one's well hit to center field. Peterson's going back. He's at the wall, and this one is gone. The 3rd home run of the inning for Colorado. Blackmon, Gonzalez, and now Dickerson. 7-1, Colorado.
It was a prettier swing, but I think there's some wind blowing out there. That ball went up, and it wasn't about how hard it was hit. It was like once it got to a certain height, it looked just like it got into a jet stream. Ball is launched with a big arc, but about halfway out, about around second base, it just looks like the ball just flattened out, like the wind caught it, and Jock's like he can give up on it early. It hit the hitter's eye back there.
It looked like an ornament on the Christmas tree. Well, it looks like Mattingly and Honeycutt are going to say, all right, you're going to have to take one for the team tonight, Bolsinger. Meanwhile, the Rockies have plenty to smile about.
If you're Don Mattingly and Rick Honeycutt right now, you look at the batting order for the Dodgers coming up next inning. Mike Bolsinger's the second hitter. He only has 1 more out to get this inning, so they're hoping instead of using a piece to get out of this inning, the piece is Mike Bolsinger, and then they'll hit for him.
And that one is well hit toward the bullpen, and against the wall. Ethier will make the catch. Bolsinger can breathe a sigh of relief, but not before Colorado scores 3 on home runs by Charlie Blackmon, Carlos Gonzalez, and Corey Dickerson. And Morneau didn't miss one by much. Fourth inning, Charlie Blackmon hit one, Carlos Gonzalez hit one, and Corey Dickerson hit one. And as we head to the fifth inning, David Hale has a Hale and Hardy 7-1 lead to work with. Jock Peterson leading it off. Alex Guerrero to pinch hit for Bolsinger as Hale misses outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Peterson 1-1. Jock walked in his first at bat. Jock with 88 walks, and he bounces back to the box. First out of the fifth. Here's Alex Guerrero to pinch hit for Bolsinger. If Mike was indeed auditioning for a postseason spot, he didn't help himself any tonight. 7 hits, 7 runs, 4 earned, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 3 home runs, 77 pitches, 50 for strikes in just 4 innings. And the Dodgers are down by a half dozen. So Guerrero fouls it back. It's 0-1. Alex at 229. He may have hit the most dramatic home run of the year here. Back on June the 2nd, that grand slam. Dodgers down to their final strike off Rafael Betancourt. Betancourt has since retired. I think that's only coincidental, but
Alex Guerrero at that time was carrying the Dodgers on his shoulders. So like every time he swung the bat, it was something good and long too.
11 home runs on the year, 3 pinch hit, and that grand slam was the most improbable of them all. Over the wall and straightaway center. Blackmon made the leap and fell to the ground empty-handed. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and Guerrero takes inside. Rockies lead at 7-1. And Guerrero is done. Second out of the fifth, and Chase Utley coming up. Utley tonight playing at third base, his second start there in his career. Has bounced to second and has walked. Dodgers scored a run in the first. Rockies would score 1 in the bottom half, and then 3 in the third and 3 more in the fourth. Bolsinger has been knocked out. Ian Thomas is warming in the Dodger bullpen, and so he will be next. 1-2 to Utley. Giants at Oakland a little later. Mike Leake and Sonny Gray. The 1-2 to left field. Dickerson on the run. Can't get it. And that'll be a 2-base hit.
That was a great effort out there by Corey Dickerson. He had a beat. He almost had that ball. He went a long way. He covered a lot of ground on that ball as it's tailing away from him, because you got the left-handed hitting Chase Utley, and you see him right there. It looked like, oh, he almost had that just out of his reach.
Closing in on the wall and missed it by just a little bit.
I wonder if he might have taken just a little bit better angle and more toward the corner there as compared to kind of toward the foul line at first. But if he opens up just a little bit more toward the backfield wall, he might have had a chance at that.
Jimmy Rollins is 2 for 2 as he takes inside.
I remember it was even odd to shag here as a starting pitcher, shagging during batting practice, where the ball, the sound of the ball, the trajectory, where you think it's going to go as you go to run to catch a fly ball. It's completely different than at sea level. The ball just doesn't get knocked down here. It just seems to continue to go.
Two balls, one strike to Rollins. 5,280 feet above sea level. Going to third is Utley as it gets through the wickets of Murphy.
You go down there and you slide over, and Chase sees that it gets through. Get the glove down more behind home plate. You need to be that observant if you're Chase Utley.
Now on 3-1 with 2 out. Rollins swings and misses. Rollins a single, a triple, and a run scored tonight. And hitting .224 on the year. Ron Renicky chatting with Utley on 3-2 to Rollins. He's done. That's the 4th strikeout for David Hale. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left after 4.5. Colorado 4 and the Dodgers 1 in Mile High Country. Baseball and some fantastic prizes, like a 1-year lease on a Mercedes-Benz C-Class, an LG 49-inch smart LED TV, a personal lawn care visit by the Dodgers groundskeepers, season tickets for 2016, and much more. For all the details on what's being given away, visit Dodgers.com/fan appreciation. So here's Ian Thomas in his 13th appearance. On Wednesday night, 1 inning, No runs, 2 hits, and 1 strikeout in the Dodgers' 4-1 win over the Diamondbacks. Bolsinger went 4 innings tonight. 7 runs, 4 of them earned. 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. He gave up 3 home runs, all in the 4th inning. So here's Thomas facing Tom Murphy. And Rafael Ynoa and David Hale. 7-1 Colorado. A strike, nothing in 1. Murphy is 6 for 22 in his young big league career. And Thomas misses outside. Murphy at Double-A and Triple-A this year between New Britain and Albuquerque. Combined 256 in 105 games. And he takes a strike and it's 1-2. Two towns that have long housed minor league clubs. New Britain and Albuquerque. Little comebacker off the glove of Thomas, and it's been that kind of night for the Dodgers.
Ian Thomas makes a great pitch here. He's really having to keep his changeup down. Has a screwball action on it. I was watching him in the bullpen when he's warming up, and he was motioning to some of his teammates down there, the other pitchers, that ball's just not breaking the same if I leave it up a little bit. Look, this one he kept down, got it to bite. It just didn't get the glove down, but outstanding pitch. If he can continue to make that pitch, he's going to have some success tonight.
Goes as a base hit. Rafael Ynoa a triple in 2 at-bats. Seven to 1 Rockies. Mets 12-2 in Cincinnati in the 8th inning. Giants and A's in Oakland a little later on. Pirates hung on to beat the Cubs today 3-2. Foul back. So by the looks of it, the Pirates will be hosting the Cubs in that one-and-done playoff game.
Yeah, today's game and the games they're having now, kind of a preview to that. The Cub fans were really into it there in Wrigley today because the Cubs were climbing back into that to the 9th to leave the tying run on base at the end.
So you figure it's going to be Arrieta and Cole.
Well, the Cubs' magic number, that so-called magic number, is 1 to eliminate the Giants, to knock them out of any wild card hopes. So you pretty much say that race is over.
Dodgers still must take care of their own business to nail the coffin of the Giants season. Including tonight, 10 to play and an 8-game lead, thus the magic number of 3. 0-2 to Rafael Ynoa. Takes inside.
And if you're Ian Thomas on the mound, you're an 89, 92, 93 mile-an-hour fastball, and your bread and butter is your changeup. That's fastball into righties is a necessity. You have to show that you'll come in there, and you actually have to show that you can throw a strike in there.
Ynoa the switch hitter on 1-2. In the left, Crawford is not going to get near it.
You see the sting he took right out of the bat with the fastball in, and then coming back with the changeup. And when you can throw that fastball in, it gives you a bigger spray pattern to have success with your changeup because you speed them up, slow them down. So even if you miss with your changeup or it floats a little bit on you, you still got the sting of the bat and the batter out in front.
Oh, especially when you go in. Yeah, as a hitter, I'm thinking, okay, fastball in. Even though you're off the plate just a little bit, I'm going, if you throw that again, I have to quicken my bat up, and I got to look for it to get it so I don't get jammed.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Trying to come back foot curveball there with the 75-mile-an-hour curveball. So, hey, Yasmani Grandal goes out there and chats with him and says, you know, let's make this breaking ball look like it's a fastball in. He'll commit early, and we'll break it on back by his back leg. They just didn't get it there. They left it over the middle of the plate.
Thomas made 23 appearances this year at AAA between Gwinnett and Oklahoma City. Came over in a trade with the Braves. At AAA, 6 starts, 17 appearances out of the bullpen, 4-1 and a 4.19 ERA. And Noah has been a fly at his picnic. This is going to be the 8th pitch of this at bat. Kyle Parker in the on deck circle, so David Hale, the starter for the Rockies, his night is done. And there'll be a 9th pitch.
That one got a piece of Kerwin Danley behind the plate. Yasmani trotting out to give him a break. Right off the left shin guard there.
Kerwin Danley played collegiate baseball at San Diego State, and his teammate was Tony Gwynn.
We've seen enough off of masks of catchers and umpires this year.
Kerwin took one off the mask about 6-7 years ago. Brad Penny was pitching and Russell Martin was catching, and it was a fastball that eluded Martin's glove and got Danley clear on the mask. Knocked him cold. And he would miss a considerable period of time having suffered the concussion. Kerwin Danley. One ball and 2 strikes.
Ian Thomas has thrown, you know, the whole kitchen sink. Some fastballs at 89, a couple at 92, some good changeups. Tried to throw some breaking balls, hasn't really executed one of those in the precise place that he's want to throw it. Just can't find one to get by him or have him hitting fair territory weekly.
This will be the 10th pitch of this at bat. And there will be an 11th. Now the Cardinals are holding their breath. Their great hard-throwing right-hander Carlos Martinez was removed from the game tonight against the Brewers after 7 pitches with right shoulder tightness.
It's not a good sign.
And we always hear the phrase that baseball, the season is a marathon. Here's the 1-2.
Tight the next day is normal. Tightening up that night before you go to bed after you've pitched 7-8 innings, 100, 110, 120 pitches. That's fine. Tight in the game
after 7 pitches.
That's not good.
Two and 2 to Inoa. 1 for 2 tonight.
This is what you're talking about here in Colorado as well. There's a lot of factors, or a lot of ways this field, this altitude affects the game. And you're talking about just not being able to have that put-away pitch without the same break to put-away hitters.
We could do a whole package on breaking balls that have just stayed up. And you could say, well, that's because the pitching hasn't been that good. There are pitches that you're just so used to. That's the release point. That's where you go. And you have to make a conscious effort to get it started down.
Finally, he's out and nearly a double play.
Awesome attempt by Yasmani Grandal. Absolutely awesome attempt on the pickoff. Kind of reminded me of Nolan Arenado picking off Carl Crawford on the chopper down the third baseline. Just in one motion, snap throw down there to Adrian and almost gets him hung out to dry. Change up blown away that he just all in one motion gets the strikeout and the attempt down there.
13 pitches before the strikeout was made. Now the Dodgers, I think, are going to request a replay on that throw to first base. So crew chief Joe West and first base umpire DJ Rayburn are on the phone to New York. One follow-up on the Carlos Martinez story. According to the story, quote, after meeting with trainers and manager Mike Matheny on the mound, Martinez left the field with his glove covering his face and in apparent pain. That's a crusher for the Cardinals. He's 14-7 with an ERA of just a shade over 3. So they have a case?
I think they might. I think they might have got him on the elbow before, or the arm before that hand actually gets to first base. That's the Jumbotron. See that? Yeah, right there. And there's no hand on it. Even when he hits it, it's like he hits his hand and might have hit it off the base.
He hit it off the base too, yeah.
So I think he's going to should be out. Yep.
And he is.
Like you mentioned, Oral, that was a great job by Yasmani Grandal. A snap throw over there to first base to get him.
Strike him out, throw him out.
There are certain pitches that happen that you can use the momentum to throw the ball where you want to go. So that changeup blown away off the plate gets the swing and miss, and then the momentum Yasmani uses to get the snap throw going. If that's a curveball, breaking ball down and into a righty, he doesn't have that ability to go that way that quickly. But he used that pitch and the location to put that play on. It's on in general with Adrian.
What also helps is the fact that it's a swing and a miss as a base runner. You freeze,
or you're trying to get out there on your secondary lead on your front foot.
You don't think he's going to miss it. You kind of go, oh, I got to get a good jump.
Kyle Parker pinch hitting and swings and misses. It's 0-1. So to be able to generate that kind of power and velocity throwing from your knees is don't do that at home.
Well, the ball being on that side of the plate closes Yasmani's shoulders, and the twist. Your arm strength is one thing, but the separation between hips and shoulders is also the thing that helps you propel the ball. It's like Nomar will tell you when you're going in the hole as a shortstop, has that backhand helps you get ready to throw the ball to first.
Parker's down on strikes. That ends the inning. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. We'll go to the 6th. Rockies 7-1.
Sixth inning, the only run for the Dodgers so far. That RBI ground out by Adrian Gonzalez back in the first inning. And when it comes to Adrian Gonzalez against the Rockies, don't be surprised if you see a double. Time now for the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. Gonzo, 11 doubles in 15 games against the Rockies this year. His career total versus Colorado now sits at 39 coming into the game. Good for fourth all time. His 11 doubles are tied for the most in a season against the Rockies. Former Dodger Matt Kemp back in 2008 did it as well, and Derek Norris this year in 2015, guys.
And Adrian Gonzalez will be leading it off for the Dodgers here in the sixth. They trail 7-1. Christian Friedrich is on in relief, making his 66th appearance. An ERA of 5.25, and opponents are hitting .319 against him. 44 strikeouts in 56 innings. So it'll be Gonzalez and Kendrick and Ethier. In the ninth, the Mets 12-4 over the Reds in Cincinnati. Gonzalez 0 for 2, fielder's choice, RBI, takes a strike, gets 0-1.
Carlos Carrasco, the 28-year-old starter for the Cleveland Indians, who's having a really good year, has a no-hitter through 6 against Kansas City.
Well, if Kansas City feels a little hungover tonight, it's understandable.
Exactly.
Kansas City now has nothing to play for except 2 weeks from tonight. The Indians are hanging on for dear life. Barely mathematically alive for a wild card. One and 2 to Adrian Gonzalez. 28 home runs and now 88 runs batted in. Twins and Tigers tied at 4 in the bottom of the 8th in Detroit. White Sox lead the Yankees 4-2. Gonzalez fouls it off. Blue Jays beat the Rays 5-3. Kendrick and Ethier to follow. Friedrich deals. There just haven't been enough foul balls tonight. Rafael Ynoa in the bottom half of the 5th would eventually strike out, but not after 13 pitches were thrown by Ian Thomas. On 1 and 2.
Unfortunately, on that play, we got 2 outs with 1 pitch because of the great pickoff by Yasmani Grandal.
Dodgers and the Rockies will have at it again tomorrow. First pitch, 5:10 Pacific. Brett Anderson and Kyle Kendrick. Sunday afternoon at 1:10, Alex Wood and Chris Russin. So the Blue Jays have won, the Yankees are losing, and it looks like it's going to be a 4-game lead for the Blue Jays by the end of the day. Texas begins the night 3.5 in front of Houston, 5 in front of the Angels. Of course, the Angels are hosting Seattle tonight. A 1.5 behind Houston. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the American League wild card race. Into center field, Blackmon. 1 out in the 6th. Were you with the Met Club in '99 or 2000?
99.
Mets and Reds, the 1-game playoff?
No, we didn't have a one-game playoff. We had a playoff.
In Cincinnati?
Was that a one-game playoff year? I'm getting that old?
Yeah, and Leiter.
Yes, you're
Leiter
right.
started.
Yeah, it was the one-game playoff year. You're right. The one-game playoff year with the Giants, too. 98. Cubs, Giants, and I was on the Giants. We lost to them in Wrigley.
Howie Kendrick, 1 for 2.
I'm still upset with Dusty about that game.
Because?
Mark Gardner and I were both well rested, and he chose Mark to start the game. I didn't get a shot.
So you were the jilted lover.
Yeah, I wasn't. I didn't have the tenure with the Giants to get the. Oh, there's the veteran with the Giant.
You didn't yell at him in the dugout, though, did you?
I'm going to take the 5th on that one. I love my job.
You're not working for Dusty anymore.
I just went and sat quietly in the bullpen.
The Bulldog.
In the bullpen.
Kendrick takes inside. That is 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I was asked on the pregame show today if I ever had any run-ins with Tommy Lasorda, and I said, there's no way a Bulldog and a fiery Italian manager would ever go toe-to-toe. Tommy always won.
Yeah, who bit whose toes?
Tommy always won.
2-2 to Kendrick. Everybody's like a 10-pitch at-bat to me.
The thing about arguing with Tommy is that after a while you just don't want to get any more stuff on your face.
Incoming.
and you don't want to be embarrassed to actually wipe mid-argument. So you just gotta grin and bear it.
Well, Kendrick will see another pitch.
And I always had so much respect for him because in some ways he built the mentality of the Bulldog. Because I was not a Bulldog when I first got to the big leagues. It was his persona and his personality and his teachings that made me tougher and tougher.
7-1 Rockies. 1 out, nobody on in the 6th.
There was a picture taken of me after a good game at Dodger Stadium where Tommy and I were the last ones to leave the field. And it was taken from the top of the tower at Dodger Stadium, the elevator shaft.
Right.
And it was just Tommy and I in the picture, but the Dodger Stadium lights are on and we're walking towards the dugout. And it's just the 2 of us and almost the whole field. And nobody else is on the field.
Kendrick down on strikes, 2nd out of the 6th.
Tommy showed me the picture one day and I said, Skip, you need to get that blown up and we need to have one. I'd love to sign it for you. And I signed it to Tommy, my skipper. You made this picture possible, but I spelled it pitcher.
Wow.
That's how much of an impact he had on my mentality and my competitiveness at the big league level. I grew up idolizing big leaguers.
Right.
It was really hard for me to turn the switch from these are the guys I've idolized and now I'm playing against them and are supposed to get them out. And he helped turn that switch.
Ethier takes a strike, 0-1.
He didn't like anybody unless they were wearing a Dodger uniform.
Pretty much, and he never really thought there was anybody in the world, as analytical as I can be, I could analyze that guy's probably better than me. And he never thought that in his life. The guy could hit 400. The guy could have, off of Tommy Lasorda, the guy could have been 7 for 7 with 7 home runs, and Tommy would have believed in his life, I'm getting you out this time, and there's no way you've had that success. Right? It was a blind confidence almost that he instilled in me.
0-2 with 2 out of the top of the 6th. Ethier robbed of a base hit by Anoa in his last at-bat. Takes a fastball in from Christian Friedrich. Crawford is on deck. And there's a Noah, but this time he cuffs it.
That was an easier play than the last one where he had to dive and lay out, but that's the way it always works, and hopefully that goes down as a hit for Andre, because Noah still had the range for that ball. And it does get a hit.
We need something to start getting Andre hot again. He's had a lot of rest and really hasn't had that many reps to keep his timing. So
we talked about that he needs to
these next
get
few
on
games,
out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Carl Crawford 1 for 2. Swings and misses, and Ethier will go to second base on a pitch in the dirt.
The jump by Andre right there was when the ball actually was headed down and he could just finish off. Step and a half, if he saw that ball would have been short, he could have turned around and got back, but he continued on when he saw the distance it got away.
So he gets himself into scoring position with 2 out. Rockies 7-1 in the 6th. Line. Oh, look at the diving stop by Adames. It kicks off his glove not far enough for Ethier to come home.
Well, first of all, this ball almost hits the pitcher Friedrich. I mean, it goes right over him. I mean, this was a shot, a comebacker right back up the middle. Good piece of hitting by Carl Crawford. Watch how close this comes to hitting the pitcher. Oof. And then what a tremendous effort by the shortstop there. Just him knocking it down saves a run. Stopped Ethier from scoring.
Yasmani Grandal coming up. So Adames filling in for Jose Reyes at short. Ethier is at third and Crawford is at first. And Grandal has bounced to second, bounced to first, and this is the first time tonight he is batting from the right side. 1 ball and no strikes. Grandal with 16 home runs on the year, hit his first of the season the other day from the right side. Second half of the year he has been physically wearing down. Took a couple of foul tips off the left shoulder a while back, and it's clearly affected him. He hit the home run on Monday against the Arizona lefty Matt Reynolds. In the dirt, through the wickets, in to score is Ethier. And going to second base is Crawford. So the Dodgers get a little sliver, and Ethier turns it into a run. A 2-out single, a wild pitch, an infield hit, and now the second wild pitch, and the Dodgers have a run.
It's going down as a wild pitch, but I think most catchers would say this would be more of a pass ball. This is the second time we've seen a ball go through the legs of Murphy. Just not getting the glove and body down in time to block that ball.
That was an easier one than the last one. Last one included a shift. That one was right there in the middle.
Now it's 2-2 to Yasmani Grandal. Joel Peralta warming in the Dodger bullpen. Grandal with a base hit here. The Dodgers suddenly get back into this thing, where wild things tend to happen at Coors Field. Grandal takes inside. It's a full count.
Your Joe Torre saying about taking small bites when you fall behind by a large amount. Sometimes in this field you get a small bite. You can get a large bite too here.
Supersize it.
Exactly.
3-2. Grandal breaks his bat and fouls it up the third baseline.
Omar, you play with a lot of switch hitters or a few?
I play with a few.
They use the same size bat for each side of the plate, different lengths, different weights.
It changes. Some did, some didn't.
Yeah.
You know, because you really are two different hitters.
Eddie Murray had so many bats. It seemed like the switch hitters carry so many bats on the road, with the bat bag.
They are two different, and you had two totally different swings from each side.
Yeah.
So 3-2 to Grandal. The 30th pitch of the inning from Friedrich is high and away, ball 4.
If your stronger hand was your bottom hand, would that maybe be the one that the side of the plate that you'd use the heavier bat?
Yeah, because oftentimes you're pulling the bat through.
Mm-hmm.
On that bottom hand, you're really pulling it,
strength.
and that's your strength. And then
Steve Foster, the pitching coach, going to go out and talk with Friedrich. So the lefty Friedrich and the left-handed hitting Peterson will bat for himself.
It's interesting you say that. We were talking. You asked about switch hitters. One, Jason Varitek, and we played together in college. And I remember, especially even in college, you're talking about swings in the batting cages. Somebody taking too many swings. You're like, hey, get out of the cage, get out of the cage. If there's 4 guys per group, well, with him, when he was there, there'd only be 3 guys in his group because he had to hit from both sides evenly. So he was 2 hitters, and our manager always made sure switch hitters had to hit twice and get those extra swings.
So here's Peterson, who's walked and bounced out. The run is in for the Dodgers in the 6th. It's 7-2 Colorado. And Peterson takes a strike, 0-1. So Christian Friedrich, a first-round pick. It's Chris Heisey in the on-deck circle. He'll pinch hit if Peterson can keep the inning alive.
He took a big bite yesterday for Clayton Kershaw and for the Dodgers. That grand slam.
For Chris Heisey, his first home run as a Dodger and his second career grand slam. Turned Kershaw into a happy camper in what turned out to be an explosive 5th inning.
He was the up close and personal witness to Clayton's frustration with coming out of the game, but then really was all ears during that conversation. A lot of the shots of him in the background just staring at the conversation, soaking it in, and how to use some of that motivation to hit that grand slam.
A cliche to be a fly on the wall during a conversation. He really was.
He was right there.
Or see no evil, hear no evil. So Heisey spent a little bit of time with the Dodgers, most of the year in Oklahoma City, and a little bit of time in the Blue Jay organization. 2-2 to Peterson. Right to Morneau, and this should end the inning, and it does. Dodgers get a run on 2 hits, leave 2 after 5.5. They trail 7-2. Kings.com. Use promo code BLUECREW for free entry. So Ian Thomas will pitch his second inning of relief. Chris Heisey's appearance this evening will have to wait. And through 5.5 innings of play, Rockies 7 runs and 8 hits. The Dodgers 2 runs, 7 hits, and 2 errors. At the top of the order for the Rockies in the bottom of the 6th, Blackman, Adames, and Gonzalez. So Charlie Blackman's been aboard on an error. He's walked and he hit a long distance home run. His 17th of the year. 4th inning was torturous for Mike Bolsinger. He gave up solo home runs to Blackman, Gonzalez, and Dickerson. Bolsinger ends the night 4 innings, 7 runs, 7 hits, 4 of the 7 earned. And Ian Thomas beginning his second inning of relief. Struck out 2 back in the 5th and delivers a strike to Blackman. It's 0-1. Bottom of the 9th in Cincinnati, the Mets 12-5 over the Reds. Nothing in 2.
As I watch Ian Thomas out there kind of start to get comfortable in a big league uniform, and when you're a touch feel guy and you have the nerves of joining a new team and getting to the big leagues and all that, sometimes it takes 4, 5, 6, 10 outings to just get calm enough to be able to be yourself on the mound. It's different. That adrenaline hits you, the excitement hits you as a power pitcher. You're worried about overthrowing. The touch feel guys, you just don't have that sense of where I want to be with my changeup, where I want to be with my breaking ball. How can I really locate my fastball? And he really looks a lot more comfortable than the other times we've seen him up here. Hitting more spots, kind of making subtle adjustmets with his pitches.
And he made 23 appearances this year, 6 of them as a starter between Gwinnett and Oklahoma City. So he's getting adjusted to his latest responsibility. Well, that's 3 strikeouts in a row for Thomas, and it's the first out of the 6th inning.
Now, the ones that will really notice that are, of course, us when we're up here as we watch him, but the scouts that have followed him through the minor leagues and then to the big leagues, and the film that the guys in the front office have watched, or when they've gone to visit the other cities. They go, you know, you can say to yourself, he's just not the guy I saw in AA. He's just not the guy I saw in AAA. And then they start to see it emerge out of his body and in these innings, and you go, that's the guy we promoted.
Christian Adames takes a strike. He's 0 for 3, and it's 0-1.
I mean, he's now at a point now where he's thrown 25 pitches and 22 for strikes.
And ahead of Adames.
I mean, that's just another level of I belong here and I can do this.
And he'd like to show he's more than just a left-handed specialist. Outside.
Well, Charlie, remember in my day, you came to the big leagues, even if you were groomed as a starter, you came to the big leagues as a long man. You came to the big leagues as the 3rd, 4th setup guy. You know, those were the pitching staffs of 9 and 10 guys. You didn't just crack right into the big leagues as a starter. You came up and you had to earn your stripes through the bullpen to get a chance to start.
1-1 to Adames. Line drive off the glove of Jimmy Rollins. Adames takes the big turn and he'll hold it first. Rollins tried his best to time the leap. Missed it by that much.
And if you talk to Jimmy, he'll probably say, gosh, I should have had that ball, because the way it wasn't really off the tip of his glove, it was almost off the top of that pinky. As he turned the glove sideways, the pinky's up on top, and it hits almost the middle of that glove on that pinky side. And it wasn't an easy play, but at the same time, you know, as an infielder, as any player, you're going, gosh, that hit my glove. It hit the middle of it. It wasn't the tip where I didn't have enough reach, but it hit the middle of it. I just didn't get the glove there where it was supposed to be.
Well, the Dodgers are going to put the shift on for Carlos Gonzalez, leaving only Jimmy Rollins on the left side of the infield. Gonzalez tonight been on base all 3 times. Scored 3 runs, a solo home run in the 4th. His 38th and his 25th since the All-Star break, as he fouls it off to the left, and it's 0-1. As you watch Gonzalez with all the skills that he has, and he's got them all, you wonder 2 things. 1, what he'd be like playing on a winning team, and 2, what he'd be like being healthy. And those are 2 significant questions about his career to this point. But there's no question about his skill level. Arenado on deck. Into short center, sprinting in is Peterson. Back in the first inning. Actually, it was the second inning in his first at bat. Carl Crawford with the shift on. Just found the seam of the third base line. Then he took a turn, and Arenado caught him napping. And you see why with the Arco top tier play. Nolan Arenado is already a 2-time Gold Glove winner, and he is just in his 3rd big league season. And he takes a strike, 0-1. 0 for 3 tonight. Arenado is going to win the National League RBI title this year. 117 runs batted in. Nowhere near the all-time Colorado Rocky record for most RBIs in a season. Andres Galarraga knocked in 150 in 1996. Todd Helton in 2000 knocked in 147. 2001, Helton 146. Matt Holliday knocked in 137 back in 2007. So 117 is a mere bag of shells.
How does Arenado hit on the road? Well, 21 of those home runs and 52 RBIs are on the road. Compared to at home at 18 and 65. He's hit more home runs on the road than he has at home.
Rockies 7-2. Two balls and 2 strikes. Corey Dickerson, who's 3 for 3, is on deck. Rockies have 9 hits to go with their 7 runs. Dodgers 2 runs, 7 hits, and 2 errors. Adames has decent speed. Thomas on 2-2. Well, now Adames will get a free pass with a full count and 2 out.
The 2-2 count compared to the 3-2 count, you go from a double may score a guy on first to a double for sure will score a guy on first.
And a double here is really a triple. 3-2. That's a fair ball. Utley with a terrific play, backhanding and throwing out Arenado. No runs and 1 base hit. We'll go to the 7th. 7-2. Rockies. Hashtag SNLA Data Strong Fan for a chance to be shown in an upcoming telecast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. So the Rockies make a pitching change. It's Brooks Brown becoming the third Colorado pitcher of the night, his 33rd appearance. A 4.40 ERA, 30 and 2/3 innings, 18 strikeouts, and opposing hitters are hitting .256 against him. And the first batter he will be facing is Scott Schebler. So Schebler pinch hitting, and then Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins as we begin the 7th inning. Christian Friedrich went 1 inning, 35 pitches, 25 for strikes. Gave up a run and 2 base hits. Joel Peralta warming in the Dodger pen, so we'll see him next. Schebler is 7 for 29. Scott at .241, 3 home runs and 4 runs batted in. Iowa boy off the Mississippi River, and he grounds it to second base. Noah throws him out, first out of the 7th. Giants have a 2-0 lead in Oakland. The A's are hitting in the bottom of the 2nd. Mike Leake and Sonny Gray, the starters. Chase Utley, 1 for 2, a walk. He's doubled tonight, and he takes inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Rollins on deck. Utley takes a strike. So in the last month, today September 25th, since August the 25th, the Dodgers at 20-9 have the best record in baseball. But at the moment, we're just kind of lollygagging through this game so far. Giants took their 2-0 lead in Oakland on the home run by Matt Duffy. He's got as good a chance as anybody to be the Rookie of the Year. Giant fans were all up in arms. Pablo Sandoval signed elsewhere. Fact of the matter is, Duffy has had a far better year than Pablo. Three and 2 to Utley. One gone in the 7th. Duffy's hitting .299. Has 71 runs batted in and has scored 71 runs. Has 159 hits.
That's an outstanding year.
Kid Piscotty in St. Louis has been on fire lately. Utley the 1-out walk. And Jimmy Rollins coming up. Rollins tonight, a single, a triple, and he's been struck out. 0-1. So Rollins, I guess the index finger is all better now. He's been playing consecutive games. There's the Cowboy. And he lines a base hit into right center field. Utley will go to third easily. Rollins takes the big turn. And the Dodgers have runners at the corners with one man out. And for Jimmy Rollins, his third hit of the night.
Well, the key is the finger healed enough to not play one game, but to play back-to-back-to-back games and then never leave the lineup. And Jimmy Rollins is showing that there's some power in his hands and the swing is coming back.
Rollins was saying the other day the hitting was not an issue. It was throwing the ball and getting literally full extension out of his index finger, which he was able to do. Rex Brothers has been warming in Walt Weiss's bullpen, and it looks like Dr. Rex Brothers will be on in relief, and Brooks Brown exits stage right. 7-2 Colorado, 2 on, 1 out. Dodgers have a bit of a threat going here in the top of the 7th. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Visit MLB.tv today. Rex Brothers now on in relief, making his 13th appearance. Recall from AAA Albuquerque on the 1st of September, and has not been scored upon in 9 appearances since.
Pretty even balanced lefty-righty, but Walt Weiss decided to go with the lefty here.
Against Adrian Gonzalez, who takes high and in, 1 ball, no strikes.
Seen funnier things happen in this ballpark. 5 runs is nothing over a 3-inning period.
Two balls and no strikes. Adrian tonight, fielder's choice RBI, struck out and flied to center. Brothers is the 4th Rockies pitcher of the night. 1st and 3rd with 1 out. Now it's 3 balls and no strikes. Kendrick, Ethier, and then Crawford are next in the pecking order. Gonzalez takes a 4-pitch walk, and the Dodgers have the bases loaded. Scott Oberg is warming up in the Rocky bullpen. Now Kendrick with the bases loaded. Lines one into right field for a base hit. In to score is Utley. Rollins is on his way home. A 2 RBI single for Howie Kendrick, and the Dodgers are within 7-4. Kendrick with the big hit yesterday. Howie tonight is 2 for 4 tonight and 2 runs batted in.
We were talking about Howie coming into this game, just coming off the DL, trying to find his rhythm, trying to get back on track, and the key for him is always driving that ball to the opposite field, staying inside that ball. Guys in scoring position, we talked about what he's done coming in to this game, 350, over 350 runners in scoring position, coming through once again. And I was talking about there's no lead that is safe here in Colorado.
The Rockies' record when leading after 6 is 46-11. So
now Ethier's been called back, and Justin Turner is going to pinch hit. And as Turner makes his way to the plate, he is the tying run. Now with Scott Oberg warming up in the bullpen, the right-hander, as soon as Turner is announced, Walt Weiss is going out, and he's going to replace the lefty brothers with the righty Oberg. And so, as you mentioned, Orel, 5 runs is a bag of shells in this ballpark, and the Dodgers will have the tying run at the plate when we come back. Against him. He has struck out 41, walked 27 in 55 innings, and he's going to be facing the always clutch Justin Turner.
Justin Turner's splits are reverse. Hit 225 off of lefties. They took a lefty out of the game. He's hitting 313 against righties.
And pinch hitting for Andre Ethier. Little role reversal. The one thing about Turner, ever since he's been in the major leagues, he has been an outstanding clutch hitter. .318 this year with runners in scoring position. But now he's got the bases loaded. I'm sorry, first and second, 2 out. Let me correct myself. First and second and 1 out. There we go. And Turner takes low and outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Turner 10 for 31. In the clutch. And he grounds one off the glove of Morneau. He'll underhand flip it to first. Turner is retired. Gonzalez will go to third, and Kendrick will go to second. Just watching Justin Turner run, it's with great labor.
A good play by Morneau staying with this ball, and a good play by Scott Oberg not giving up on his route covering first base. A lot of times you'll see a pitcher pull up. Justin hit this ball real well, and once he saw that he was going to be out, just kind of easing up down the line, resting the leg.
Crawford, second and third, 2 out. Takes high and away, 1 ball, no strikes.
What's impressive on that play by Morneau was just the fact that after he bobbled it, there was a calmness about it. Like he didn't feel like he still had to rush in order to hurry the flip over there to the first baseman.
A veteran play.
To the pitcher.
When does that sense kick in, Nomar, when you know the difference between a routine ground ball that you've kind of booted a little bit compared to the bullet, and you know you've got a lot of time?
It's an internal clock that you have, and it's also just understanding who's at the plate as well before that ball is even hit to you.
Second and third, 2 out. Crawford rolls it to first. This will be an easy play from Morneau. Oberg comes in, gets the job done. Dodgers score 2, leave 2, and in the 7th inning stretch they trail 7-4. Stays in the game in right, replacing Andre Ethier, who in turn was pinch hit for. And the new pitcher for the Dodgers is the veteran Joel Peralta. And Peralta making his 30th appearance. A .488 ERA, .271 is what batters are hitting against him in 24 innings. So the Dodgers get back to within 3 at 7-4 as we go to the bottom of the 7th. And speaking of threes, Corey Dickerson, as he steps into the batter's box, is a triple away from hitting for the cycle. He singled in the first inning, doubled in the third, and scored a run, and hit a solo home run. So Dickerson, Morneau, and Murphy will bat for the Rockies here in the 7th inning. Ian Thomas, 2 innings, no runs, 2 hits. No balls and 1 strike. Peralta at 92 miles an hour.
Nomar, did you ever hit for the cycle?
No.
But the only thing in your career you didn't do.
Not in the big leagues. Nope. Came close a few times.
Dickerson. At 321. Last Rocky cycle last year, Michael Kadire. There have been 2 cycles hit at Coors Field this year. Shin-Soo Choo and Matt Kemp.
Who was that second guy?
Matthew Ryan Kemp, right fielder from the San Diego Padres.
It was the first ever cycle for the Padres in their franchise history also.
The one and only. One ball, 2 strikes to Dickerson. Well, the Athletics have taken a 3-2 lead over the Giants in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Billy Burns with a 2-run home run. Matt Duffy with a 2-run home run for the Giants. And there will be no cycle in this at-bat. Peralta strikes out Dickerson, first out of the 7th. Justin Morneau coming up. 0 for 2, a walk. He scored a run. Got aboard on an error by Adrian Gonzalez. Morneau at 310. Peralta's got the first 2 batters a bit flummoxed. Seven runs, 9 hits. Colorado 4 runs, 9 hits for the Dodgers. Peralta, 3rd Dodger pitcher of the night, fouled off to the left. Bolsinger went 4 innings, 7 runs, 4 of them earned. Thomas, no runs, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts in his 2 innings of relief. Are there that many good lip readers that you have to cover your mouth with your glove and your mask?
I don't know. I don't think so. But you try and do everything you can.
It's high-def televisions.
Makes you feel good. Makes you feel comfortable.
But I don't suppose the hitter's watching TV at the moment. So Peralta strikes out the first 2 batters he faces in the 7th, and Tom Murphy's coming up.
A lot of times it's not even, you're not even worried about whether the hitter, the hitter's reading it right now or looking at it because they don't have a TV, but if somebody's in the dugout or somebody sees it there or figures it out, that's what they're thinking. Everybody's always like, okay, it's coming from the dugout. They'll relay it to one of the coaches, base coaches, and they're relaying it back to the hitter.
And 2 pitches later, the message got there too late.
You know?
2 out, and Tom Murphy's coming up. But it looks cool.
Did you like to know what was coming, Nomar, when somebody was stealing signs?
No.
You just wanted to watch the
I
ball and hit it?
Yes. I did not want to know what was coming.
Because what if they're wrong and they're conveying you that information?
Yeah, also, there were times when I didn't know what it was coming and I got too excited and got out of my approach and pulled my front shoulder out and rolled over the ball or something. You know, even when there were times in the middle of that bat, if I guessed right, I was like, yeah. So everybody's different. So obviously,
so you weren't even up there, kind of anticipating what pitch was coming.
I had an idea.
I would have
an idea.
I'm going to be on it.
Yeah, I'd still have an idea, but
you try not to react to the information.
I just knew
or the ball.
Right.
Tom Murphy, who's 1 for 3, 2 out in the bottom of the 7th. But the messenger is telling you, if the messenger is telling you, hey, it's going to be a breaking ball outside, and then all of a sudden there's a fastball up toward your coconut.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, first of all, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
If that one is, but yeah, and then all of a sudden there is no confidence whatsoever.
So that's one of the reasons why, as Peralta strikes out the side, Dickerson, Morneau, and Murphy. Peralta couldn't have been any better. We'll go to the 8th. Dodgers need 3 to tie. 7-4, Colorado. Here, let's take a look at the DraftKings game summary. Corey Dickerson, a triple shy of hitting for the cycle. It was a disastrous 4th inning for Mike Bolsinger, who gave up home runs to Charlie Blackmon, Carlos Gonzalez, and Corey Dickerson. Howie Kendrick, a big hit yesterday, a 2-run single in the 7th, has gotten the Dodgers to within 3, and they're going to be facing Justin Miller as we now head to the top half of the 8th inning. For Miller, this is his 30th appearance. 2-2 and a .341 earned run average. He has struck out 35, walked only 11, and he has held opponents to a .160 average. Yasmani Grandal, Jock Peterson, and Scott Schebler will hit for the Dodgers, who have 6 outs left to figure out a way to come up with 3 or 4 more runs. Grandal 0 for 2 and a walk. The shift is on for the switch hitter batting for the left side. He fouls it off to the left, and it's 0-1. After 3.5 in Oakland, the A's 3, the Giants 2. The Mets have already won. As Grandal swings and misses, and it's 0-2. If Oakland wins tonight, the Dodgers' magic number will go down to just 2. And if the Dodgers come from behind, it could conceivably go down to 1. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Grandal.
The Giants have a day game tomorrow too, so Dodgers might know that result before they take the field tomorrow.
It's a 6:10 local time start here, 5:10 in Los Angeles. The liner in the right field, but there is Cargo. Now Jock Peterson coming up. He's 0 for 2 and a walk. Rangers lead the Astros 6-2. Boy, Houston's coming undone. The Angels have a 4-3 lead in Anaheim after 2.5 over Seattle.
Nomar, is there something about young teams and learning how to win? It's always out there, that theory.
Yeah, you always hear that. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to that.
The pressure down the stretch.
Just understanding it.
It sure is helpful to have some veteran presence who's been down that road before to kind of help guide the ship. So Jock Peterson, 1 ball, 1 strike. The shift is on for him. We're in the 8th inning. Into right field. Cargo is there. He's about as graceful as anybody out there.
Yeah, tracking it down. But, or you're talking about, learning how to win. Sometimes it's just understanding down the stretch when you are struggling how not to allow it to snowball. And that comes with experience, and especially experience at the big league level. So it's
learning how to lose fewer.
Yeah, basically. Or, in certain games, you're like, oh, we really want to squeak out that 1 run. What do we got to do together to get that 1 run? Rather than just waiting for that big hit or just, believe all our talent, somebody will get it done. Don't worry about it. But figuring that out.
Scott Schebler, no balls and a strike with 2 out in the 8th. Chopper to first. So Justin Miller comes in, retires the Dodgers in order in the top of the 8th. Go to the bottom of the 8th. Rockies 7-4. Lineup ever. Shop at ChooseNissan.com. Joel Peralta beginning his 2nd inning of relief. Couldn't have been any better in the 7th. Striking out the side, Dickerson, Morneau, and Tom Murphy. And the first batter he faces here in the 8th will be Rafael Inoa, who has tripled in 3 at-bats. Rockies with 9 hits to go at their 7 runs, and the Dodgers 4 runs, 9 hits, and 2 errors. Inoa takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Ben Paulson in the on-deck circle. He'll pinch hit. And Inoa will foul it back, and it's 0-2.
The odds on the Dodgers coming back are getting thinner. The Rockies have been ahead after 6, 46-11. Ahead after 7, 49-6. Ahead after 8, 55-5.
Nothing in 2. As Ynoa steps out of the batter's box. Colorado has double barrel action in their bullpen for the 9th. John Axford, a right-hander, and Boone Logan, the lefty. Peralta on 0-2. So here is Ynoa at 239. Into center, and Peterson is there. First out of the 8th, and here comes Ben Paulson to pinch hit. Your Red Sox teams, Nomar, you were a group of veterans. So it was not as you were going through those races and through those paces, you could kind of fall back on one another, unlike, for instance, this Houston club with just a bunch of wild kids.
Yeah, every year we definitely had veterans. It was throughout my entire time there.
Yeah.
I mean, I had veterans that showed me the way as I was coming up, as far as being a rookie, and it does help an awful lot to have those guys with that experience to talk you through times when you are struggling.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
I remember the 1969 Mets, one of the great iconic teams. They were young. They had been universally horrible from 1962 to that point. And about the middle of the season, not quite the trade deadline, this was a young team, young Bud Harrelson and young Cleon Jones and young Ron Swoboda and young Tom Seaver and young Jerry Kuzia. They made a trade with Montreal for a first baseman named Don Clendenin. And Don Clendenin was the veteran who came into that clubhouse, and he essentially became the pilot of that ship. He wasn't the biggest name, but he was a steadying presence. And after he got out of baseball, he became a lawyer. I mean, so it was the force of personality. He was not unlike his days Tony Clark. You know, he comes in, he commands attention, and that was one of those big, understated acquisitions that made that team what it was.
You know, when you weight advice, we talk about the veteran player joining the young guys, compared to then the fans would think, well, they already have coaches and managers. So when you weight advice, Nomar, the same advice came from your manager, your hitting coach, compared to a peer, a fellow on the team.
Yeah, it's so different coming from your peer, no question. You weight it an awful lot more.
Because they're going through the same thing you are. They're facing the same pitchers.
Yes.
Paulson down on strikes. Peralta's retired 5 batters in a row, 4 of the 5 by strikeout.
And the other thing, too, is people, if you want to talk chemistry, you want to talk about becoming a team, a lot of times that doesn't happen necessarily on the field. It happens off the field. So it happens at those dinners. It happens at the times, you're on the road or on the plane, and you're talking about the game, whether it's a card game on the plane, whatever it may be. There's those moments, and that's when you're really learning. And a lot of times you're spending those moments with your teammates, not with your coaches, when they're maybe sitting at the plane or you're going out with the dinners.
It's like classroom work compared to homework.
Charlie Blackmon takes a strike, 0-1.
The education continues.
Yep.
It's not just during the game when you're around the coaches and the manager, but the education continues in the off the field because you're hanging with your friends and your teammates.
And it happens more often than not on the road. At home, everybody goes home.
And sometimes, too, especially when you need to hear that criticism, or you really need to hear, or
they're
that
right.
kick in their rear.
How about they're right? The coaches are right.
That too.
When you come back, I can't believe he told me that.
Right.
And you're venting, and now you have a veteran player go, hey, those guys are right. You might want to listen.
Exactly. So there's definitely carries a lot more weight.
Well, sometimes it can be a new way to think about it. Another time it's just reinforcement.
Rangers 6-2 over the Astros in Houston. They're playing in the 7th. Into right field. Schebler stumbled at first, but coming in from center to save his bacon is Peterson. That's a play by Jock as Schebler. His first step nearly fell on his knee. We'll go to the 9th. Last licks for the Dodgers. It'll be Utley, Rollins, and Gonzalez coming up. They need 3 to tie. For the Rockies as we go to the 9th. Axford in search of his 25th save of the year. 4-5 at a 4.44 ERA. 58 strikeouts and 29 walks, and the opposition's hitting .263 against him. He'll be facing Utley, Rollins, and Gonzalez. Axford got cuffed around on Wednesday against the Pirates. The Rockies were swept by Pittsburgh in a 4-game series. He gave up 4 earned runs against the Pirates on Wednesday, and his 9 2/3 scoreless inning streak would be snapped, crackled, and popped. Utley 1 for 2, 2 walks and a run scored tonight. Each team with 9 hits. Utley takes a strike and it's 0-1. All in all, in his last 17 appearances, Axford 8 saves and 14 scoreless innings. If you forget about Wednesday, which is what relief pitchers have to do. Back with you tomorrow, Brett Anderson and Kyle Kendrick. One ball, 2 strikes. Above and beyond the obvious skill a pitcher, relief pitcher, closer must have is the ability to just erase yesterday, good, bad, or indifferent. Into short center, where Blackman is camped underneath it. Dodgers down to their final 2 outs now. Big crowd tonight of 38,485. And after tonight, the Dodgers will have 9 games left in the regular season. Last check in Oakland, the Giants are hitting in the top of the 5th, and the A's have a 3-2 lead. Rollins takes high, 1 ball, no strikes. Adrian Gonzalez on deck. Then Kendrick. One and one to Rollins. Jimmy's got 3 hits tonight. He tripled in the first inning and would score. An infield hit in the 3rd, and then after striking out in the 5th, he singled to right and scored in the 7th. One ball, 2 strikes. Mentioned earlier in the Milwaukee Cardinal game, Carlos Martinez, their hard-throwing right-hander, came out of the game after 7 pitches with a bad shoulder. Now the 1-2. Ed Coletti used to say when he was a GM, he'd say, you know, I'm just a sprained ankle away from a heart attack. And I think in St. Louis tonight, oof, they lose Martinez. That's a big deal. 2-2 to Rollins.
The best days for a general manager are when nothing happens.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Ned reminds us that every once in a while.
Nothing on the injury report is a very good day. Here's a 2-2. Inside and low, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
It's not always just an injury report. Just sometimes there's just no fires that were started or anything you have to put out as a gentleman. Just nothing happened.
What happened today? Nothing.
No phone call.
Gone is Rollins. Gonzalez is coming up. There's 2 out. So the Dodgers down to their final out, and Gonzalez coming up. Adrian 0 for 3 and a walk. A 3-run 3rd and a 3-run 4th. So the telling blows to the Dodgers tonight as Gonzalez takes a strike. It's 0-1. Dodgers scored a run at the top of the 1st on a Rollins triple and a Gonzalez fielder's choice RBI. Colorado would score a run on 2 base hits in the 1st to tie it. Then 3 in the 3rd and 3 solo home runs in the 4th off Bolsinger. Blackman, Gonzalez, and Dickerson, who had a heck of a night tonight. For Carlos Gonzalez, his 38th home run of the year. For Blackman, his 17th. Two and one.
This is a place where the offense expects to get healthy and start to find their swings with the great atmosphere here to get ready for future games.
Dodgers are now down to their final strike. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Axford a strike away from his 25th save. 96 high, 3-2. Kendrick on deck. And then a pinch hitter. If it gets that far. 3-2. Gonzalez. What a play by Adames to end the game. Christian Adames filling in for Jose Reyes makes 2 sparklers tonight, including the game-ending play. Now it's time for the Lexus Player